Hello, hello. I am Elisa Pratt, solo host for Association Transformation today. Very sad about that. I know this is a topic near and dear to Andrew's heart, in no way, shape, or form, but excited to stay on schedule and bring a very special guest and her colleague to the Association Transformation family. Drum roll, I would normally challenge Andrew for not having the good sound effects at this point, but I am so excited to introduce Elisa Cohen, a former colleague of mine, one of the only other Elisas I've ever met in the world, and Elisa, communications manager with Schatz Consulting and Strategy Group. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
You've brought with you a colleague today who's going to help educate both of us, I think, on some very special compliance elements that nonprofits and associations need to be aware of. But we have Prudhvi with us today, and Digital 508 Compliance Manager. And I'm excited to welcome you. I don't want to make you feel like you're in the Elisa Club, but the Elisa Club is very small.
Very
And
I can I can let you have your moment for just a
thank
small
you.
bit,
We need to have our moment. We met, gosh, so long ago. We worked for a commercial construction trade association, and I remember you remember when we first met. I know you do.
I do fondly. Elisa had been working in the DC office. She was legislative affairs. I was marketing, and I kept getting her email and invited to a lot of stuff that I was clearly for her. And everyone's like, "Oh, the other Elisa, the other Elisa." What's hard to tell in Zoom background is that Elisa is about a foot taller than I am.
Yes. You're the snack size. I'm the full size candy bar. I'm the full size candy bar. You're the snack size. It works out very well on Zoom, and then it's quite the juxtaposition in person.
So the first time I met her, I was sitting in my cubicle, and this very lovely, tall, blonde woman walks up to me and says, "Oh, mini me."
That probably was not HR approved or DEI appropriate. I mean, I try not to discriminate against people of any elevation, any height.
Mhm.
But look at us now. We
Look at us
became
years
great
later.
friends, have stayed in touch, and now you get to come back to the association space with Shot Strategy Group. And you and I met for lunch, and I was really interested to learn. You guys have a very unique specialty that I'll admit I was not aware of. I was not in full comprehension of how important ADA 508 compliance is. I mean, what is it even? Andrew would be raising his hand right now and say, what kind of American craziness is this? So I'm gonna ask Prudhvi to step in, tell us a little bit about what the heck this is, why it's important, why it matters, and be the compliance manager here for us for a second. We need you.
Sure, by all means. And thank you for having us and whatnot. So let's start with there's a lot of alphabet soup here. ADA, 508. These acronyms all stand for different things. ADA stands for Americans with Disabilities Act. 508 is usually shortened version of Section 508. Now, 88, that Americans with Disability Act, is in reference to, well, in short, ensuring equal access to all folks with impairments or disabilities. Section 508 was a later kind of modifier or modification to the Rehabilitation Act back in the 70s to ensure digital content also
Okay.
is accessible. So that's, I
Okay.
think, the
Okay. So
bridge.
508, yeah, 508 makes this what? About websites? Makes this about mobile? Like, what does digital
Yes,
mean?
Everything. We're
all of
talking,
it.
yeah, we're talking all of it. We're talking even this meeting right now over Zoom or the platform of Zoom. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's everything encompassing, honestly. In the 21st century, it's yeah, phones, smart devices, tablets,
Okay.
websites.
And I imagine this requirement the interest in this, the need for it has never been greater. You said the 70s, this stuff has been around for a while. The digital format has taken over, of course,
Right.
and maybe in the last several years, people have given more consideration to the equitable access to their materials. Is that true? I mean, are people more in tune with this and more aware of it than ever before? Or are you still explaining it to people like me?
It's I wouldn't say it's a daily struggle. However, it is somewhat of a challenge in the sense because, like you're kind of suggesting, back in the 70s, our predecessors, who, were trying to create this set of like new standards, anyways, when all they had were really just printers and like some like form of maybe early iteration of computers and whatnot. So nowadays, yes, it's something that has rapidly expanded into this kind of wholly encompassing topic now. So yes, we do explain this quite often. You're not the first and you're not the last. Let's just say that.
Well, I can imagine as a communications manager, Elisa, this,
Mhm.
I haven't even gone into the Schatz strategy group title. I did mispronounce the company when we first met, and it was a different S word when I first said it. So you probably have to get over that,
Mhm.
how your company name may be pronounced inappropriately. But
Absolutely.
explaining what this all means, and not only to your government clients, because you guys have a lot of time and clients and reputation in the government work, and it makes sense. They would know what this is. But on the association side of this, should I have closed captions on now? I mean, am I not even 508 compliant?
Yes.
Oh,
Short and simple,
Yes.
yeah.
If you can
Prudhvi just
think,
gave me the look. He gave me the scrunchy. Yeah, he gave me the look that I'm not in
Well,
compliance.
I saw your YouTube videos and they do have captions and
Okay.
whatnot, but that's
Okay.
automatically created by YouTube. But
Oh, okay. All right. Good to know.
if you can
So,
think, if you can think of our digital world has exploded, and ADA compliance and the 508 specifically is sort of like making sure you have a handicap ramp to get into the building. Only your building is now digital, and then this is the ramp that everybody needs to be able to know what's happening on the screen if you don't see well, or captions if you don't hear well. And I've got a stat. I've got a statistic I found.
ooh,
You
hold
ready?
on. Drum roll for data. Drum
Yeah.
roll for data.
I'm not, I'm a marketing person. I don't do stats too often, but according to the World Health Organization, more than 2.5 billion people are currently needing one or more assistive products in order to navigate.
Okay.
And they're
Okay.
anticipating that by 2050, that number is going to go up to 3.5 billion.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, and I just bought these. I'm going to cheat. I just bought these like fancy smart glasses that are going to translate other languages for me.
That's very cool.
I don't know why my son's taking Spanish too, because soon they're just going to have, implanted wearable things that make everything accessible for everyone. It's very exciting. But
That is
until that day
very
comes,
global.
there you go. Until that day comes, I know a lot of organizations are updating websites. They are going through brand refreshes. Hopefully, on a constant and recurrent basis, they are adding and revisiting their content. How often should the conversation around accessibility happen for a marketing and communications department, or a content department, a publishing department? How does this work in for a team that may not previously be aware of what's required of them?
I mean, what's interesting is we got into this whole field of compliance as to satisfy the demand from our clients. And so, as you're producing new documents, you're creating a PDF of a brochure. There are ways to make sure that that can be read by assisted products. And so, when you're making something, you should
Okay.
take that into account and make it accessible for those 2.5 billion people who may donate, who may volunteer, who may
Yeah.
help you lobby for your causes.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
So this is not something you get to after you've launched, after you've circulated, after you've emailed this around. This conversation has to be had at kind of the design and architecture stage, the ideation stage. because there's legal
Ideally.
obligations here. I mean, Prudhvi, is this some, am I gonna, do people go to jail for this? Is this like monetary fines? Like what happens if you're found to be not in compliance, and who would bring that charge?
So don't worry, you're not going to be going to jail tomorrow or whatnot. You don't have
Uh,
to
Andrew would
worry
hold it
about the
over me
knocks.
forever. Andrew would never let me forget it.
Hmm.
Never.
Yeah.
He wouldn't bail you out?
No, he would hold it over my head forever. Forever.
What a
So
unfortunate
there,
situation.
what happens if you're not in compliance then? If it's not
So it kind of depends on the state you're in, actually, at least within the US. And Andrew doesn't need to worry about this over in the UK, if I'm correct as well.
oh,
Uh,
good.
yeah,
Okay.
uh, the EU and many other organizations across the world in different capacities, they do have different ways of regulating this and then also enforcing compliance to some degree. At least in the US, the most common form, anyways, typically is judgments that are, post court case and whatnot. So if some type of case is brought against, say, an agency, for example, we're not going to name any during this call, but if an agency is found incompliant or non-compliant, then they can be brought to court and some type of fine can be levied
Okay.
against them at that time.
Okay.
It ranges from, thousands to tens of thousands. It just depends on the severity of it.
Sure.
Um,
Sure.
and
Yeah, I
that
mean, I
is
can admit, go ahead. I'm sorry.
sorry, but yeah, it has spurned a lot of conversations about it because, some of the more forward-thinking states, anyways, in the US at least, they have been really on the ball with regards to digital compliance over the past, decade or so. But now, per the Department of Justice, as of last year, it is now a nationwide requirement for all states.
Okay, so
So
state government, I mean, we're talking obviously for a government agency, they would know this, but they're also the most likely to be held accountable for it. I think of things like a school district or whatever it may be, but also corporate. I mean, this is a for-profit requirement as much as a government or nonprofit requirement, and something that I hope associations are having a conversation around, because this could even be a strategic advantage. We're not even just talking about hearing and vision and any other alternative delivery methods that make everyone make it accessible to everyone. But I think of the broader conversation around newer members or those who don't know anything about our organization yet, just being at every table, being in front of everyone possible. Elisa, you were going to chime in. Oh, is that when I say Elisa? See, I'm not talking to myself as I
Um,
usually
I'm
would be.
witnessing this.
I know, isn't it weird?
You make a great point, and I also wanted to say, along with the government, had been specifically tasked with making sure this is compliance, but it also applies to any nonprofit organizations that are getting government funding. So all
Mm,
those grant programs that the associations are managing,
mm,
all need to have a compliant website, compliant digital documents. And so that is actually a legal issue, not just good marketing, good
yeah.
positioning.
So does this then not apply to for-profit or private organizations?
So private organizations are kind of at the cusp at the moment. They're, I wouldn't say scot-free entirely because there are a lot of organizations that are private or whatnot that do in some way associate themselves with, whether it's an agency or a government or whatnot. So they do need to take it into account, kind of like how you were saying earlier, bring it to the table and be aware of it because it does, have these cascading effects that will be seen for it will trickle down. I will say that
Mhm,
much, I
mhm.
suppose. Mhm.
Okay, so here's what I've learned so far, that this is not just a government thing, that ADA compliance, 508 compliance is specific to the digital realm,
Mhm.
and nonprofits, anyone who wants to be accessible to their full potential audience and be aware of legal obligations and inclusive opportunities need to be having this conversation at the front end. We all have overgrown gardens of content at this point. So is it a matter of going back to and making your old content compliant, or is there kind of a point forward where it's from now? How do you suggest staff approach this?
So complex can of worms, as we would call it in the sense. I mean, there's different approaches to this from at least my perspective, working with agencies or clients, some education, some healthcare wise. Um, there are exemptions they can make, but it really does depend on how important some of this content needs to be in the sense. Uh, as you kind of mentioned the garden kind of analogy, there are clients that we've worked with that have had to kind of go back retroactively and prune their gardens per se, actually archive or take things down in the sense. So there is that approach. It's not the most I guess it's not the best tactic, but it is an option, especially if, it is a small, like say for association purposes. If it's a small group, then they're not able to really uh, do that much pruning, that much kind of like management per se of their web presence. Then yeah, taking things down is an option. But if they do need to keep the content up, then yes, uh, we can talk about this a bit more. But remediation of the content is the path forward, actually trying to make it accessible. There is ways of taking things that have been on the whether the web or application and making it accessible, but that does take time and manpower, I suppose, or women power in this case. But
Well, we talk about, all these generations in the workforce and
Mhm.
the diversity of our memberships, the diversity of our constituencies in the association space has never been more broad. So as communicators, as the deliverers of value, as membership people, we're already trying to appeal to everyone possible. We're already trying to communicate in every way necessary and deliver value however they need it. So we're already kind of trapped trying to be everything to everyone on every platform in every digital language. And it's a lot. It's a lot. I this all sounds, I don't know if it sounds expensive, but it sounds ominous. How do you guys come in? Like, where do you fit in as a strategy team, as a consultant, to make this easy? Because this is not something that I would think my team would know how to do.
Well, we do. When we create,
Thank God.
everything we create, we are able to make accessible. So if we're producing a video, we do a version that has audio descriptions. So it tells what's happening on the screen. It has closed and open captions, so you can opt to see it or have captions automatically on the screen.
Wait, what
For
are
people that
open
need them.
captions? I know what closed captions are. What are open captions?
Open captions are automatically streaming across your
Oh,
screen.
then what are closed captions?
You request them.
It's a
Oh, okay.
toggle. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
But that's what that
Okay,
finger.
see?
I was wondering what yeah, I saw Prudhvi with the finger.
Yeah,
That's the
it's like a
universal,
little
it's the universal symbol for toggle.
Toggle.
on
Yeah,
off
so
basically. Yeah.
closed captions is like I will often watch a movie on a streaming service, and especially if it's a thick accent foreign movie, I will often, even if I'm talking English, I will
Oh,
often
yes.
in the captions
Yes.
so that I can see what you miss. I don't miss any subtleties.
Oh, absolutely. I had
And
to watch the entire Peaky Blinders series on closed captions. It was
there's even some, honestly, there's some of those fast talking actors that I'm like, wait, I think I missed something interesting because they're
yeah.
laughing on screen and I don't get it. And I hate missing a joke.
Oh,
So
goodness.
I mean, I think even in convenience land, some of these assisted some of these adaptions are helpful just for people that don't necessarily need them, but appreciate them and
Right.
appreciate their
Right.
availability.
Well, and you guys refer
Oh,
to it as inclusive design. And inclusive design, I think really, I love the concept of it because it speaks to the user experience,
right.
the user journey, and it puts their needs and their definitions of value and success at the forefront. And too often, organizations of all types, especially 501(c)s, can forget that they are in service, to the membership. And so I love this concept. It may not even be about physical needs. It may be about where you are in the country, what time zone you're in. It may be about what size of company you represent. So I think this inclusive design concept, I hope it takes on more than just ADA compliance and 508 compliance when we bring this topic to life, because there's so much to that user experience that needs to really be invested in. And on the front end, I get the word remediation and kind of doing it as a reaction to, but when do people usually bring you in? I mean, you talked about making videos. Are you guys helping to make the content or in its original form, or are you coming in to do the remediation?
It's both.
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
So Schatz Strategy Group is a full service communications company.
So
And
it's
so
Schatz, not Schatz, people. In case you're reading the logo, it's not Schatz, it's
right.
Schatz.
It's a short A.
I want to make
Um,
sure the closed caption gets it right.
Thank you. We can create videos, we can create brochures, we do technical editing, technical writing, and when we're creating it, we keep this in mind. But from demand, and we have also created this sort of division called the 508 Institute, where we can remediate something that already exists. If you've got bylaws, if you've got a strategic document that you need to make sure everybody in your organization and all the members can see it, we can go in after the fact and make sure that it has the codes so that all the readers can read it.
Okay.
That's what we do. We can also train people. I should let Prudhvi talk to what the 508 Institute's all about.
Wait,
Yeah,
is that one of the hats he wears?
One of
it's
the
a
hats
Is
I
the
hat.
wear.
508, is the Institute your
It's
baby?
it's the
It
earmuffs
is.
that he's got
Mm,
on.
There you go.
mm.
All the headphones that you have to wear. So what does the Institute do? And is that a place where, I don't know, knowledge is created to help people understand this and resources that someone who may not yet be a client can find?
You hit the nail on the head here. Yeah. So the 508 Institute primarily does things such as Lisa mentioned, remediation. So that's a service that's provided. And I do realize I just said Elisa
Yeah,
C and Elisa P. I'm gonna have to kind of flip
It's
back and forth.
easier. It's just Elisa. Everybody's Elisa.
yeah.
Everyone's Elisa. I can be Elisa as well, right? I mean,
There
I
you
can
go.
this a temporary club and whatnot. But yeah, so 508 Institute has that remediation service, but the primary goal is between myself and my co-instructors at the 508 Institute, we teach courses to try and educate individuals that want to learn more about digital accessibility and different ways and whatnot, so that they can take that information back to their organizations and agencies and whatnot to try and become self-governed, because that's an important factor. Because yes, we can, as Lisa said, provide that full service communication service, but it's important as well to try and give people that self-empowerment, at least going forward, so that they can take charge of this, process anyways, and try to incorporate it into their workflow anyways.
Okay. And I imagine there's also a holistic positive impact as it relates to SEO and, performance on mobile devices. I mean, this isn't just about checking a box and being in compliance. This is about a larger commitment to accessibility that then has positive impacts that you may not even appreciate as it relates to usability by all your constituents, all your stakeholders, all your customers.
Great point. Absolutely. Uh,
Well,
because when you're coming into a website and you're looking for something specific, a lot of times associate websites are built from the internal staff that thinks that it makes sense how the organization is put together. The navigation is intuitive, but only for insiders. And
yeah,
this sort of makes you put on the hat of somebody who doesn't understand, doesn't know your organization. How do I navigate to sign up for that event? How do I find the donation button? And just a button that says click here can mean any number of things to a reader who doesn't know what it is you're clicking for. And
yeah,
so
yeah.
it makes you think in a very concrete way to make everything more accessible, which ends up helping everybody who lands on your website
Yeah,
who's
yeah,
unfamiliar
yeah.
with who you are.
So I have a question for Prudhvi. A lot of nonprofits, a lot of associations have logins and firewalls for those who are subscribers or dues paying members.
Mhm.
Does the 508 requirement extend behind the firewall, behind the login as well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's
All
the
right.
full encompassing experience, even past the curtain where the wizard might live in the sense. Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Got it. Good to know. Okay. And I heard a rumor, and I'll hold you to it, that you guys are going to share an accessibility roadmap guide for our listeners to make this topic a little less scary, give us kind of an entry point to to maybe look at some of our digital products and start having these conversations with our teams around awareness and around the inclusive design principle that 508 really helps us, really frames for us.
Absolutely. Yes, that roadmap will be available as soon as this airs in the sense. So
Oh,
hopefully
cool.
your listeners can kind of utilize it and try to get the topic started. It doesn't matter if you're late to the game or late to the
Yeah.
party in the sense. It is as important, you know, one way or another. And I hope that this type of information will at least get to the right folks that can maybe make some good change across the organization one way or another.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You know, a lot of our listeners, a lot of associations in general are small staff. And I wonder, is this something that you could DIY, or is this something that you always need an outside partner to execute?
This can definitely be DIY. So if you like those projects, those weekend projects in the sense, then yeah, by all means, then this is something you could do. I will say that there is a ceiling in the sense of kind of knowledge, and it's quite high in the sense. So
Mhm.
if there is a need to look for outside assistance, don't don't hesitate. You know, if you're like stuck with the drill and you're like, where does this go in the sense with that drill bit? Uh, don't
Yeah,
hesitate to look up information, whether it's through Shot Strategy or any other group. Honestly, there is lots of information, good information that might be more pertinent to the organization. I feel and understand where those small groups are coming from, but don't hesitate. Start sooner rather than later.
yeah, because you're right. This isn't about obligation or legal compliance. This is really about building inclusive digital environments, digital communities that can engage and thrive. And so I hope it's not looked at in a purely compliance context, because that's not sexy.
No,
This
it's
really is
not.
about engagement. This is about engagement, and giving your stakeholders everything they need in whatever format they need. So thank you for joining me and demystifying this this scary topic that probably too few are aware of. You know, ADA compliance has its own kind of cloud over it or pressure around it. You know, we never think we're all fully compliant. Something that's been around for a long time and will never go away, thankfully. But 508 is something that more and more people should be having a conversation about. And I really thank you for coming and making it, bringing it down to my level and Andrew's level. This, you know, he would probably have slowed us way down if he was here. So I do hope he gets better, and hope he's feeling better soon. But thank you guys for coming. We're really excited about the roadmap as well. Any final thoughts? Any first steps or best practices for associations in terms of 508?
Hmm.
You get the
Uh,
last word.
I get the last word. Ooh, I
Yes.
appreciate it. Hmm. I'm trying to think of something snazzy or catchy here, but honestly,
Nasty. Yeah,
just
what's the 508 Institute bumper sticker? I mean, come
bumper
on.
sticker.
It's just
Well, you
Uh,
know
under
what? Actually, that's Elisa's
507.
job. That's Elisa's job to figure
she's
out.
the mark.
So,
Marketing.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
mark.
Thank you actually for having us talk about this. What's fun is that Elisa and Elisa both come from nonprofit on the other side, and now we've crossed to sort of the service side of associations. I definitely can see not only the good this can do to make sure your documents can and your important information can be read, but also that all the associations are tapping into this market that needs this information and can be donors and supporters and lobbyists and volunteers and all those things. These are humans that you want to make sure understand your cause.
Yeah. All right. So we've learned 508 is the digital accessibility in all digital platforms and mechanisms of all your content, not only what you have already, but what's coming. And this is an opportunity. This doesn't have to be hard, but it needs to be thought of at the beginning. And there are groups like Schatz Strategy Group there, and Prudhvi and Elisa out there to help you. Not this Elisa, but that Elisa, whichever side she's on.
If you need an Elisa,
If you need an Elisa, we're here.
It's always a good thing to need an Elisa.
There's an Elisa out there for everyone. But for you both, thank you so much for joining me. Thanks to Schatz Strategy Group for sharing you and for making that accessibility roadmap available. And until next time, put your members and your mission first.